Hi friend, welcome back to my kitchen. If YouTube brought you here, welcome. My name is Stacy, and around here I create quick, easy, delicious, affordable meals. Well, this week we are cooking for two, and I have found a great deal on some ground beef. So we are going to do 3 recipes using some ground beef that I grabbed on sale, and I think you're going to love all 3. So what do you say? Let's get to it. Happy Pasta Monday, friend. Every Monday I do a pasta dish, and this is one of our favorite. This is cheesesteak pasta. All the flavor that you love in a cheesesteak, but it's going to be a one-pot dish. In this pot I have a half of a pound of ground beef. Now, if you are not a fan of ground beef, you can definitely swap ground chicken or ground turkey in here. There is tons of flavor in here, and so that's an easy swap. You can do that. But for us, we have a half of a pound of ground beef. To that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of diced green peppers and 2 tablespoons of diced onion. Then I'm also going to add a minced clove of garlic, which we're just going to run it through the garlic press. We're going to put that together. Then, after that's browned and the veggies are softened, we're going to coat it with a tablespoon of flour. And then we're going to make a sauce from Worcestershire. We have a tablespoon of Worcestershire, a teaspoon of ketchup, a half of a cup of milk, and a cup and a half of beef broth. Now, let's talk pasta. This is the cavatappi pasta. It's the corkscrew pasta, but it can be a little bit difficult to find in my area. So if you need to, you can definitely swap and just use elbow macaroni here. That's another simple swap, but you need a cup of pasta. Before we head to the stove to cook our beef and our veggies, I wanted to talk about the cheese. We do have some provolone cheese here. I have about 3 slices. It's the thicker cut one. So we're going to need to add this after our dish is finished, but I'm not going to add it like this. I want to go ahead and do just a quick little dice to it. So I'm just going to come down, cut it in strips, and then turn it and cut those strips into dices. Just like that. So we have nice little chunks of provolone cheese for our finished dish. Now let's head to the stove and brown our ground beef. I'm just going to come in here really quick with our little meat chopper and kind of break this up while our pan is heating up. And we'll press our garlic clove in here. And as soon as we have just a little bit of a brown, we'll add our veggies. Now that our ground beef is starting to brown just a little bit, I'm going to throw in the veggies. Garlic, onion, and pepper. Is there any other smell that smells as good? I love it. So now just keep browning this up. Now that our ground beef is browned, I'm just going to come in with a paper towel and get a little bit of that grease. But I don't want to take any of the veggies with the paper towel. Now we're going to sprinkle this with the flour. And now we'll add everything else. Now we'll just boil this until the pasta is tender, about 12 minutes or so. I did forget to tell you, yes, we're going to boil it, but we do need to boil it covered. So I'm just going to cover it, but to make sure it has a vent in it, because otherwise it'll boil over with that pasta. You do need to cover it for the 12 minutes. Let's check our pasta. Oh my goodness, steamy, yummy goodness here. Now all you have to do is just grab one of these and do a little taste test. Don't burn yourself though. I have it cooling off on the side. Alrighty, we're just gonna stir this up, and it will thicken as it cools. The noodles are cooked perfectly, so we're gonna take this off of the heat and bring it to the cutting board. Here we go. Oh my goodness, smells so good. Now I just have a sprinkling of parsley and a little salt and pepper. I would go easy on the salt though, because we have that beef broth in there, so you might want to just do that at the table. Now I have my bowl here, and we're just gonna scoop some of this up. That rich, yummy gravy. And then remember that provolone cheese that we cubed up? We'll just come in, sprinkle that all over the top. So now we have all of the flavors of cheesesteak in there. It's one of our favorites. You'll have to try this one and let me know what you think. Hey friend, happy Taco Tuesday. Tonight I am making smashed tacos. I'm gonna make it on my griddle, but if you don't have a griddle, you can do it on a Blackstone, or even a skillet works just fine. So let's head to the cutting board and put these smashed tacos together. This may be the easiest taco night you ever do. It is so simple to put these smashed tacos together. All you need is two of the any types of tortillas. You can do flour tortillas. These are the carb counter tortillas, not necessarily because we're low carb, just because we like the way that they taste. Then I have a half of a pound of ground beef, some cheddar cheese, and then anything that you like on top of your normal taco. So here I have jalapeno, purple onion, an avocado, tomato, lettuce, whatever you like, a little sour cream, a little salsa, it does not matter. We're also going to add 1 teaspoon of taco seasoning. I like to make my own. I will leave the link in the description below to my taco seasoning recipe. It's so easy. You probably have all of these spices in your spice cabinet right now, and it's delicious. Plus, you can have it stored for the next taco night. Now we're just going to mix this together. Now when we mix it together, if you feel like that 1 teaspoon isn't enough seasoning, you can always go back in and add another if you like a very seasoned taco. Now we're just going to mix this all together. I think I am going to go in with just a little bit more of a sprinkle. But like I said, start with the base of a teaspoon and then see what you think from there. Alrighty, now that we have our meat all mixed up, this is the fun part. We're going to divide it into 2. And we're going to take our tortilla and we're just going to smash it into our tortilla. Now, when we smash it into our tortilla, we want to get it as thin as possible. So if you need to bring in a spatula to kind of smooth it out, that may help. Just kind of push it all around and get it pretty thin. The thinner you get, the crispier it's going to get once we cook it. I do have a Greek chicken version of this on the channel, and I will be sure to leave that in the description as well. Alrighty, now I'm just going to do the other one and then I'll meet you at the stove. I have my griddle preheating, and I'm going to come in with just a little spray, just so it doesn't stick. Once this gets hot, I'm going to turn this meat side down first, and then we'll make sure that this side is cooked thoroughly, and then we'll flip it over for just a few minutes on the other side. Now that the griddle is preheated, we'll just turn this meat side down. We'll cook it for a few minutes on this side and then flip it over. You can see as it starts to heat up, the tortillas kind of bubble up a little bit. That's exactly what you want. Now comes the hard part. Are they going to stay on there? It did. It did separate just a little bit, but we're just going to cook this side of the tortilla and then we're done. That's all there is to it. This was a pretty fatty meat, so there is just a little bit of fat. So I'm just going to come in and soak it up with a paper towel, just like that. And then we're going to add our cheese. Add your cheese right on top. Fold this over. Look at that. It's the his and hers version, and this is the hers. Add some cheese. And you can see why you really want to stretch that beef all the way to the edges, because it really does shrink up a lot. There you go. Now hers is finished too. And just like that, our 2 tacos are done. Now you have 2 options with these. You can either open your taco up and fill it with all of your accoutrements, if you want to do that, or sometimes the cheese kind of seals it together and it's so yummy that you hate to peel it apart. So I'll just pile up what I want on my taco just on the top. So let's do it both ways. Whether you do your toppings on the top or you do the toppings inside, it works great and your taco night is done in minutes. Try this one. I know that you're going to love it. Hey friend, while I'm getting set up to make our Salisbury steak with mashed potatoes and gravy and Southern style lima beans, I wanted to tell you just a few things. The first thing is the Southern style lima beans. I did that as a short on my channel, so I'm not going to be showing you how to make that tonight, but I will put it in the description box. It's 60 seconds, it's a really quick watch, and they're really quick to put together. Now, the second thing is I am going to be using an entire pound of ground beef. An entire pound will give us 4 Salisbury steak patties. So if you're single, you can just make one at 1/4 pound. However, I must tell you, this dish freezes beautifully. It is one that will keep in your freezer for 6 months or more, and when you take it out, it is perfection, even 6 months later. What do you say? Let's get started. Here is everything that you're going to need to put this dinner together. First off, we have our lima beans. Then this is what we're going to make our Salisbury steak with. We've got our pound of ground beef, an egg, some Worcestershire sauce. I know I do not say that correctly. Thank you for your grace. And some panko and house seasoning. If you don't know, I love to make my own seasoning blends, and house seasoning is just equal portions of salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. That's our Salisbury steak. Then we have our gravy. We're gonna need 1/2 stick of butter for our gravy. And then we have our better than bouillon. If you don't have better than bouillon, you can use beef broth too. It's a very easy swap. Little salt, little pepper, and some flour for that as well. Then our mashed potatoes. We have our potatoes. We're gonna do about 3 cups of diced potatoes. So that's probably around, these potatoes seem pretty small, so it's probably 3 or 4 potatoes that we're gonna mash. And we're gonna mash it with some sour cream, some milk, and a little salt and pepper. Once we have everything gathered up, it's time to get started. We're gonna get started first with our Salisbury steak. Alrighty, to put our Salisbury steak together, we just need a 1/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a teaspoon of house seasoning, and an egg. Now we just mix it up. Now that we have everything mixed up, I wanted to show you, this is why I like to use the bowl. So we have to divide this into 4 portions. And I just kind of eyeball this, but you can definitely pull out your kitchen scale. There we go. Now we're just going to put these all into a ball, and then I'm going to use the side of the bowl to kind of push it against the side of the bowl to form our patties. And then when we're ready, we can just peel it right off the bowl and into the pan it goes. Now that all of our patties are done, I'm gonna go wash my hands and I'll meet you at the stove. I have my lima beans going back here. I have my water boiling back here for our potatoes. And now we're gonna preheat our pan. I'm gonna go ahead and toss our potatoes into our water and get those started as well. Now that our pan is preheated, we're just gonna put our Salisbury steak right inside the pan. Once these brown on this side, then we'll flip them over and cook them for just a few more minutes. Now that we're browned on both sides, I'm just going to put them in an 8x8 dish, and then we'll make our gravy. Now let's make our gravy. So you can see here I have a little bit of oil left in my pan. So since I have that little bit of oil, I am not going to use a 1/4 cup of butter. I'm only going to use 2 tablespoons. I want you to think 2 when you're doing this recipe. So 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're just going to let that melt down. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of beef bouillon, and then we'll go in with 2 cups of water. We're gonna try to get as much as that fond off of the bottom of the pan because that is flavor. Alrighty, now that our butter's melted, I think I'm gonna go in with our better than bouillon. It will just kind of melt in and dissolve a little bit. And again, if you don't have better than bouillon and you want to use beef broth, that absolutely works. 2 cups of beef broth, maybe possibly 3, depending on how thick you like your gravy. There we go. Once that all is melted in, we'll add our flour, a little bit at a time. Once all of our flour is in, we'll add our water. You'll see it's thick enough when you can run your whisk through it and it pulls away from the pan a little bit. If you can make a track in your gravy, it's ready. I might add just a little bit more water. We have about 1/4 cup left. And then, once it thickens up and we can make tracks in it, we'll pour that all over our Salisbury steak. Our oven is ready. Our oven is set to 350, and we are going to put this into the oven for 20 minutes. I just want to make sure these are all completely covered. Now, if you were freezing this, you would allow it to cool at this point and then wrap it in aluminum foil and freeze it. But since we're going to make this and have this today, into the 350-degree oven it goes for 20 minutes. While our Salisbury steak is in the oven, we're going to go ahead and make our mashed potatoes. So I'm going to drain these potatoes and I'll be right back. Now that our potatoes are drained, I have 2 tablespoons of butter. So I'm going to put that right in there. And it's in the hot pan, so the butter will melt pretty quickly. Now we're going to put our hot potatoes right over the top of that melting butter. And I just have an ancient masher here. But we are also going to add some salt and pepper and some sour cream. Now I have a cup of milk poured, but I'm just going to start with 1/2 cup of milk and see how thick these are. I don't think I'm going to need any more milk. I think these will thicken up nicely. Now here's where it comes down to personal preference. If you like your potatoes smooth, you would keep going. So we'll just mash a little bit more and then we're good, because we love a lumpy potato with a little bit of texture in it. Let's put a plate together, shall we? Dig in there for the lima beans with those flakes of red pepper in it. And then we have our potatoes back here. I'll make a little well here so we can put some of that gravy right inside there. The star of the show, the Salisbury steak. A comfort food classic for your weeknight meal. Let's just have a little taste test. He's not home yet, but I can have a little sample, right? Bon appetit. Make this, friends. It is so good. Well, friend, there you go. We have planned your Pasta Monday, your Taco Tuesday, and your Comfort Food Meal Wednesday. I hope that you make these recipes. It's a great way to use that ground beef when you find it on sale. There's so much more to do than just burgers. But wait, that's meal idea number 4. Look at there, 4 ideas. I hope that you enjoyed these recipes. I'm here every single week bringing you those quick, easy, delicious, affordable meals, and I hope that you're here too. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that I show up in your feed every single week. I'm so glad you're here, friend, and I hope you have a fabulous week. I'll see you soon. Bye.